technical difficulty. So let's see if we can. I was on a really good tangent too. It was a really good, it was a really good thought. So maybe I'll start over. But I don't know what happened. All right. So I was talking about. This is obviously part 2 of overcoming inertia, and I just want to chat about how this actually plays out in your life when you have thoughts, behavior, belief, emotion that you're holding on to and you're sitting in. This is just in relationships, and I can use a different example to illustrate how important emotion, how important energy is in your life. So, in I was using an example of a woman, and I was saying, let's say this woman is, she feels unworthy of anything good in her life. She lacks self love, doesn't practice self care, puts others ahead of herself, and just lets people walk all over her. This is a very common person, unfortunately, but we can get over it. And then she, so she feels unworthy, she feels unlovable, and so she's just like, whatever. And so in her emotions, she feels unworthy, unlovable. In her thought, she thinks, no one's ever going to be with me. Nobody wants to be with me. And I've been watching Sex and the City just as a kind of a review. Part of me is like super cringy now. I'm in season 5 and I'm like, they're just they're just living in these trauma loops. But so I see somebody's here watching, but I don't know like if there's some sort of like sound issue or what the dealio is. But if you could let me know, that would be great. So she's unworthy. She's feeling unworthy. She's thinking she's unworthy. She's feeling it in all of her body. Maybe she's even holding it as weight in her body of like, nobody is going to love me. And so her energy is like broadcasting this energy out of, I'm not enough. And so she draws in this guy. Okay, good. Good to see you, my love. Hello, Hannah. Hello, Deepu. Okay, so she brings in this guy. Her energy is casting out, I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable. This guy comes in and he's attracted to that because he's like, he doesn't have control or emotional resilience. And he's like, maybe he's really attractive to her, and she's like, I'm never going to do any better than this guy. So she brings him in, and he's agreeable to it. He's like, oh, she does whatever I want. I don't have to try. She's just going to do whatever it takes to take care of me. And so so they start a relationship. The premise of that relationship is based off of her energy of not feeling worthy, not good enough, unlovable. And so she's sitting in that energy. And as they're going, maybe he's abusive. And because she doesn't have the boundaries to speak up for herself, she doesn't say anything back to him to kind of say, don't treat me like that, because she has no boundaries. She's not worthy of boundaries. She's not worthy of that love that we all desire and need and want in our life. So I say this to reiterate that if you're overthinking these negative thought patterns, you're broadcasting that out. Now, how does that react? Now that we've brought this guy in, she's going to feel like she's stuck in that relationship now, okay? And this is so common. It's crazy. But she feels like she's stuck in that relationship with him, even though for the both of them, it's not good for either of them. Like, he's not living as in his male purpose and she's not living in her female purpose, and they're both broken, but they're broken together, and now they've like built this life together. And then I she's like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck in this situation. I don't know how to get out. How did I even get myself in here? But she's stuck in that inertia cycle of like continuing in that relationship. Hello, everybody. Cooking and listening. Okay. So right now I'm doing a broadcast. Hello. Um, yeah. So now they're stuck in this, and now she's like, how do I get out of it? And she's like, he's such a narcissist, and he only thinks about himself. He doesn't care about me. He doesn't do anything around the house. And maybe they even like they're in this for a long term and they have children. And so you've got all this energy that started from her feeling of unworthiness, but now she's just like let it kind of, but there's still a little bit of momentum in that. But even if you're in inertia, there's still, going to work, going home, having the relationship. And then there's this disconnect because she's not connected with herself. He's likely not connected with himself. And she's like, he's never going to change. Well, it's because you didn't change to start with. Like you started with being unworthy, thinking you're unloved, thinking you're unworthy, maybe even feeling into that. So not only are you thinking it, which is reinforcing your brain that this is true, you're also emotionally feeling it. I'm unworthy. I'm unlovable. And so we start to, she's basically built this whole thing on her premise of those feelings, of those thoughts, and of that behavior and of that energy. It's basically sucked in this relationship. Now, what does that mean? It means that our thoughts, emotions, behaviors start to form and change our environment because we are authors of the environment that we're in. So, another example, you go to work and you work at a job, and I've done this, so I could say it. But I go to work and I'm holding these feelings about myself of like not being enough, having to prove myself, whatever. And so I go into the job and I'm like, I want to climb the ladder. Do I really? I want to climb the ladder? So I go in, I overwork, I burn myself out. And then by the end of it, it's like I'm left unsatisfied because now the job that I have is way crazy because I put so much on my plate, and now I'm burnt out. I can't even function to do the job. Okay. You start with goodbye. In your relationships, oh my gosh, that's so good. Okay. So you do all this, and then all of a sudden at the end of it, you're like, and I've done this a couple times where I'm like, what am I doing? And I realize that I'm trying to prove something to somebody that I don't even really want. It's crazy. Sorry with goodbye with everyone. Goodbye. But this, like, I built that. I built that job. I created that because I, on a certain level, was unworthy. I felt unworthy, even though I have tons of skills, even though I have competency, even though I'm smart. I know that I can do anything, but I will find myself going into a job where I am like, feel like I have to prove the, you're so funny. I feel like I have to prove myself in this situation. And that comes from this lack of feeling worthy of being able to be competent at the job or do a good job at it. So I've built my reality with that energy. Oh, this is my bear. I had it made. He's cute. Every year during summer solstice, I make flower wreaths, so that's that. And then I didn't want to get rid of my Halloween bats. So that's why the bats are there. And I don't know. It's just arty. I didn't make this. I actually had somebody make it for me. This is a piece of metal. I don't know if I can, yeah. Maybe it might be better to, it's kind of shiny. But yeah, the bats, I didn't want to get rid of the bats, so they're there. Okay, so I say all of that with the relationships, and it could be friendships, it could be even family. You might have relationships with your family that are undesirable, and work relationships, intimate partnerships, friendships, relationships with your children. Like, these are all things that we are putting our energy out and then we're kind of getting it back. Okay. I will say this again. We have authority in our lives. The only thing that we control and have authority over is your body. You can't control other people. So if you're trying to control other people and trying to change them, it's it's going to be a fruitless activity. You can do it if you want to. Go ahead. It's going to be a learning lesson, because ultimately having control over somebody in that fashion is, I don't know. For me, the immediate feeling I get is disgusted. I don't want to control anybody. I just want to have really beautiful relationships with, like, authentic and integrity filled people. And so, I mean, do your life. However, if you're looking to be in a higher frequency, you're not going to want to control people. You're going to want to have your own personal sovereignty over yourself. And you'll find, and I gave this example to a woman, because I'll peruse and look at things on Facebook, and a woman, she had posted, so she's a mother in a relationship, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so over it. I do everything for everybody else and nobody thinks to do anything for me. I'm always putting others ahead of me, and I am not getting any of that back. I'm a mom. I'm just like constantly putting out for my children and, to take care of the household. And so many women are stuck in feeling this way. And she I heard loud and clear what she was saying, and I was like, my advice to her and my advice to you is, if you're being in empathy is a beautiful thing, and it can also be a terrible thing. So let's think about how we're going to control and control ourselves, of what can we do if we're an empath. So an empath is somebody who has really high awareness. They think of service to others as an important value, which is great. It's a beautiful thing, but you can do it too much to where it drains you. So I'm like, being an empath is hard. I know, because I am an empath, and so I can resonate with what you're saying right now. Self-love is hard when you're in this place. It's hard to put yourself above others. And it takes work and practice, but you have to figure out little pieces. If you're so busy, you've got to find the little pieces throughout the day, throughout the week, that you can really focus on rejuvenating yourself. The advice goes this far, that once you start to put yourself first, then other people will come in who will do the same thing. Okay. And this might resonate people out of your field. People might not want to be around you if you are putting yourself first because they're in a low energy where they want to control others. And I know all about wanting to control others. I've had power issues my whole life, and it's been a really, I don't want to say difficult, but been a challenge for me to overcome that and try to stop trying to control the situation, trying to control the outcomes of things, trying to control how people behave, what people say. It's a lot easier for you to change that internal part of yourself where the people will start to resonate, who resonate with you, your energy. Like I said, our energy is like constantly going out and coming back in, constantly. So there's a concept called the Taurus field. Taurus, Taurus field. And it goes out of the brain, out of the crown, and it goes back, and then it goes under the feet, and it goes through your body, out the crown. So that, imagine that field, okay, going out, and you're bringing back in. So if you're shooting out, I'm not worthy, that's getting shot out. It's going back through your body, and it's your body is repurposing that energy until you change it. And this is where the inertia piece comes in. So, so if you're moving that out there, that's going to come in. Likewise, if you start to put yourself first, I am worthy. Okay, okay. It's going to take consistency for you to rewire your brain and thinking that, rewiring your emotions into thinking that, but the little consistency pieces of I am worthy. And that's why saying affirmations is important, especially speaking it, because our words are very powerful. So you start to pump that out. You start to say, I am worthy. And then other people's energy fields is, oh, she's worthy. Okay, now I'm resonating towards her. There's something about her that I'm just drawn to because whatever. So I am worthy. That starts to come in. I'm putting my, I am lovable. What were the other things? I, I matter. I'm, I'm important. I have control over myself. These really nice, beautiful affirmations that you can start saying to yourself and start believing, then your energy is like it's like carrying those little particles out into the field, and then it's like grabbing back it, coming back in, and then all of a sudden like you have a shift in the people that are standing around you. And sometimes you do have to put up a really strong boundary to say, look, I care about you. However, the energy that you're in right now is I cannot be around it. And so you vibrate, you almost resonate or vibrate those people away from you because now and sometimes you don't even have to say anything. It's just an energetic boundary that just gets put up, and then the people that don't serve you, that are unhealthy, kind of get out of that because they're not feeling that, they're not resonating with that same feeling. And it's really important to analyze the people that you have around you. So if you have friends, like really think about, is this person healthy for me? Is this person serving me in my highest? Because I feel like we like bring these people in, and if you're not aware of your social situations and like the energy that they're bringing into you, that it can have a detrimental effect because we're vibrating with their resonance as well. Okay. Zindaji asks, do you believe stomach also help to improve thoughts and emotions? Yes. So the gut is a brain. It is so important for if you're having digestive issues, there is likely some form of central nervous system like is out of whack. So it's definitely not to It's like a last minute, it's like a last resort of desire for change. Okay. So, as I told this woman, I was like, once you start to put yourself first, and it sounds, as an empath, it sounds counterintuitive, but it's super true of once you start to put yourself first and you start to have these more high frequency thoughts and beliefs and feelings about yourself, then the people around you you'll start to see changes and shifts. And that is, my friends, how you can speak your world into how can I say this with making sense? It's how you can basically write the energy that comes around you. So you'll have these people, let's say, oh my gosh, sorry, these are such big thoughts and ideas, and it's sometimes difficult to put them into words. I'm doing my best. You're basically authoring the experience that you have in your life, and you have ultimate control and authority over your own being. And we all have unique experiences in our lives. We all have these unique experiences, each and every person. And it's like we're, we're all these like little energy bodies, and we're all experiencing one another, and we all have a responsibility for our own purpose. So hopefully that lands and makes sense. It's a huge thought, and I know people have probably contemplated this and probably have said it better than I have, but I'm just, in my experience, this is true. So, all right. That was a little, I felt that was good. That was some good teaching. So hopefully you guys got something off out of that. All right. So, here are some things that you can take away that will help you with resetting your energy if you are feeling in this stagnant spot. So, one is to literally shake your body. So, as I had mentioned before, I've been taking ballroom dancing, and this is a great way for me to, one, interact in my feminine energy, two, to move my body, and three, to get that energy flowing and moving. I like these talks. I'm censoring myself though. That's okay. As long as it's not super crazy. I had somebody that was like, "Oh, let me see your full body." I'm like, let's just let's just stick to the teaching. So, literally, like getting the energy moving. Even like if you're feeling in stagnation, like physical bodily stagnation, just walk around your block for a mile. Go walk a half a mile and then walk back, and do that every day until you can set yourself a new goal. And that's just a little step that you can do. It's very healthy for you. There's a lot of there was a study for, oh my gosh, I can't remember the doctor's name, but it was for like diabetic health, that if you find yourself in like a pre-diabetic state or you're in diabetic state, that getting up and walking 1 mile a day every day, and kind of cleaning up your eating and refocusing, that is a good way to kind of halt that process. So get out and walk if you can. If you're not keen on walking, maybe you have something in your house that you can do, maybe pace around your property. I have a rebounder, which I love to use, and so that's like bouncing on a trampoline basically. Dancing, anything that you can do to get your energy flowing and moving. Your body is responding physically, it's muscle memory if you're sitting around all day. So shake up that energy, like go out and do something. If you have a partner, like get intimate with them. That's another way to like get your energy moving. If you are having lymphatic issues, taking an Epsom salt bath, like a hot bath, will help moving that through. Talk to your doctors. Obviously, I'm not giving you medical advice. If you are on medications, just make sure you clear it with your doctor that these activities are okay. But find ways to get active. I'm sure a doctor's not going to say no, you can't be active. I'm sure they're going to say no, you need to move around. Like our bodies need that. Go on a hike, go on a walk, maybe go to the mall if you like to be in the mall and just walk around. Like a lot of people like to do that, especially if they're in rainy climates. But find places for you to go and move your body. And literally, if you don't want to do any of those things, just close the door in your bedroom and start shaking your body and getting it moving, and do that for, a couple minutes. And I know I was doing this womb activation, and part of it was like moving your body. So it like activates that sacral energy in your body, which is like the creative and the relationships part of your body, to like get that stimulated and moving, because we're desiring connection. Like we're all here. We're all kind of we need to have connection with people. And I'm a reflector, and I hear so many reflectors, and like, I don't like to be around anybody's energy. And I'm like, I only want to be around people's energy. Although I do have to like come back and clear it out. But like, I love being out in spots where I can like talk to people. I love being interacting and having team projects and leading and doing this like podcast. Like it's so exciting for me to be able to hear some of like Zindaji. He's been giving me he gave me a philosopher to go look into, and so I'm like super what's exciting and stimulating to me. I love traveling for that reason. I love road trips. So I like to get moving and interacting with people. There's so many reflectors that are like, I don't ever want to be around anybody. I just want to go into a cabin in the woods and hide away. I'm like, we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to be out here like sampling people's energy, talking to people, figuring out where they're at. And it gives us a gauge of like where our community is, where our world is, that we can help in our way of, okay, here's the feedback that I'm going to give you for where you're at. Okay. So shake it off. Get a nice song on, start shaking it, shake it to the whole song, shake it like a salt shaker, whatever you got to do. Okay? And then the next thing is for those mental overthinkers. Um, one thing you do is start clapping in a certain pattern. We're trying to break that mental thought process. So, the countdown we talked about, clapping is something else that you can do. But anything that is going to break up that mental like loop that you're in and get you to take action. So just do the thing. Do the thing. I was watching The Legend of Korra, and I can't remember what his name is now, but he was like the I don't want to call him a playboy, but he was like this rich inventor type guy, and he had an assistant, and he would just tell her, do the thing, do the thing. And so that's what we're trying to do with our mental thought loop, is we're trying to break it from, remember our muscle memory, even the brain is a muscle memory. And so we're trying to break that up and like just do the thing. Just take the action, take the action, take the action if you're used to not taking the action. Okay. And finally, breathing and moving forward. So inhale deep, count to 5, and then commit to doing one action a day. So breathing is really interesting. Maybe I might do like a little deep dive on that for another topic, but breathing is so important. I find that when I'm in my survival, fight, flight, freeze, fawn period, my breaths are very shallow. They're very small. Like I'm not using my full lungs. And so if you're really mindful of when your body is in a survival state, you know that you're trying to conserve as much energy as possible because you're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to survive." So now I'm going to use the least amount of, it's like it's a physical body scarcity that you're feeling. And we live in abundance, everybody. Remember, I told you about how speaking things into existence is like crazy easy. And taking the action. It like, even if you lose something, like something's got to fill it, right? There's a vacuum there. So it could be something even better and greater than you would imagine if you just took the action. So let's think about that. Let's get out of that stagnation and take an action that you've been putting off for the day. So if it is helpful for you to write a list of here's all the things that I want to achieve, like write a goals list, then do that and start doing little things. Okay, if I wanted to do this one thing, what things do I have to do in order to get there? And like it really does help to like write it down. So journaling, speak it out loud is also helpful. And then breathing, we want to get out of the scarcity mindset and we want to get into an abundance mindset. So we want to get away from those shallow breaths and to take a deep breath and expand and be bigger than where we're at. Okay, so my closing words. So we'll close this up. Thank you guys so much for joining. I always say this. I'm so appreciative of everybody who watches because even watching this is a form of payment. So paying attention. If you're still here, please like and subscribe to my channel. And I want to say that you are not stuck. You think you are. You feel you are. But you are not stuck. You're simply in obedience to the laws of motion. You're simply obedient to these physics of energy, okay? And we are energy bodies. And you can change the energy. It just requires action. It's momentum. And these things are possible to do. Anybody can do it. And once you take the action, the momentum will follow. So just keep going, keep taking the action. Don't think about failures, don't think about wins. Just think about achieving the action. If you have to think in short term small, just take the action. If you like to have the big dreams and the whole idea, like I obviously I will say to do that, have your dreams, have your purpose, have your goals, have your vision, figure out what that is. If you guys need help with that, please DM me or send me an email, amelie@soulesticintelligence.com, or reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram, anywhere, or send me an email here. And I can help you with that. And so Cozy Edit says, I love walking. If the world turns to crap, all I do is walk. I'd be happy. Love that. And thank you. I love content like this. Reminds me of the old videos I used to watch of Alan Watts. I love that. Okay. I am going to be on a road trip next week. So I don't necessarily know if I am going to be able to do a live stream. And if I do, it will be probably somewhere in the middle of Utah or Colorado. I'm in Oregon, so it's going to be a pretty big road trip. But I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for watching. And I hope you got a lot from this. Please leave a comment if you did. And I will see you guys soon. I'll put the schedule, I'll schedule one up. Okay? All right. Well, thank you for